Brought to you by Penguin.
How to Be You. Written and read by me, Ellie Middleton. Introduction. To be completely honest with you, working out where to start with writing this book got me all tangled up. When I first spoke with my lovely editor, Amy, about the possibility of creating an actionable follow-up to my first book, Unmasked, the ADHD novelty hit, which I'm sure so many of you can relate to when starting a new project, kicked in. I felt excited, full of ideas, and eager to share all the many techniques of figuring out how to work with your busy brain rather than against it that I've picked up along the way with the world. In the foreword that I wrote for my wonderful friend Leanne's book, ADHD and A to Z, I shared that learning how to hack your ADHD and how to work with your brain rather than against it is absolutely life-changing. But none of it is rocket science. It's a series of tiny changes, minute switches, and small habits that all add together to make a huge amount of difference to your life. Writing this follow-up guide was going to be my chance to pull all those things into one actionable resource. This would be super exciting, right? Right? Well, it started out that way. On an initial call discussing the idea with my editor, I reeled off a whole array of possible tasks, worksheets, learnings, and techniques which a book could include. My busy brain was whirring in the way it does best. I was oozing the creativity and enthusiasm which remain my very favourite parts of my interest-led neurodivergent busy brain. Then, and I'm sure this will be a very familiar experience for so many of you listening to this audiobook, I jumped off the call and did nothing. As a novelty-seeking ADHDer who professes to know quite a bit about her brain, I should probably recognise by now that if I'm not jumping headfirst into a new and exciting project, it's usually a sign that something is not quite right. But I pushed the thought away, smiled along, and told my friends just how thrilled I was to be cooking up a new book idea, while doing absolutely nothing about it behind the scenes. It took until my next ADHD coaching session a week later, when I mentioned that I'd been procrastinating about getting started, for me to identify what was really going on. After starting the coaching session by brain dumping some of the ideas that I'd already shared with my editor, I quickly felt that familiar, panicked and agitated feeling rising in my chest. I felt overwhelmed and stressed, and to be completely honest with you, I had to hold back tears. When my coach asked me exactly what it was about starting this ever so exciting project that felt so stressful, I said that it was the whole thing. First, the fact that as an autistic ADHDer, there are two constantly opposing sides of my brain that consistently demand entirely different things from me. One loves structure and routine. One can't stick to a schedule for the life of her. One thrives on repeated patterns. One needs novelty to stay interested. One needs to take things one step at a time. One wants to be doing 100 different tasks all at once. One needs to prioritise rest. One needs to be stimulated at all times. If I myself have so many opposing and clashing needs, how could I possibly pull all of those things together to create a journal or workbook or audiobook that was useful to both sides of my own brain, let alone useful to anybody else? How could I keep it exciting and novel enough for my ADHD brain, while keeping it structured enough for my autistic brain too? Second, and leading on from this, I felt overwhelmed because trying to work out how to structure this guide confronted one really big thing that felt really tricky for me to admit, and that came with a big old side order of the dreaded shame we all know so well. I haven't ever figured any of this out myself. Let me be clear. I absolutely, categorically do not have my shit together by any stretch of the imagination. Some days I'm frantically running around ticking a million things off my to-do list. Some days I'm procrastinating until the very last minute. Some days I'm too overwhelmed to even get out of bed. Some days I'm chronically burned out. Some days I achieve a million things in record time. Some days I achieve nothing at all. The reason I don't have a journal or a method or a definitive answer as to how to work with a busy brain already is that I've never found one that works. Or, even if I have for a short stretch of time, I've inevitably fallen off the horse a week or so later. I have a drawer full of desk planners and journals that I've been convinced will be the secret to finally getting me organised once and for all, but that now lie unused with only a page or two ever written on. I have a home screen full of apps that promise to be the answer to all my problems, most of which we use for a fortnight at best. Over the last 2 years, I've shared hundreds of tips, tricks, routines and techniques for learning how to work with your neurodivergent brain rather than against it, but in reality, I've never actually figured it.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?